Sappal. Mr. Sappal, isn't this an outright snub of the sitting Chief Minister of Punjab? Because he had clearly told the High Command in Delhi that at least there needs to be a public apology. Only then will he accept Sidhu as the president of the Congress party in Punjab.
No, not at all, because nowhere the Congress leadership has, in your words, mistreated the Chief Minister of Punjab. These are all rumors. These are media rumors.
Sir, there was a letter. How is that a letter written by the Chief Minister of Punjab a rumor?
Neither the Chief Minister nor the Congress President ever confirmed the existence of that letter. Only thing the Chief Minister said that whatever Congress President will decide, he will abide by that. So, issue is not whether about leader A or leader B. Issue is there was an aspirational issue in Punjab. Punjab, we have a very good government which has functioned very well, which has won every single election in the last 4 years, right from Vidhan Sabha election to Lok Sabha election to all the local bodies elections. There have been 5 local bodies elections. And it's a government which has been loved by people. And we also need a generational change in future. And there was a balance to be created with this party. And party did it in the most democratic fashion. What is wrong if the party ascertained the views of everyone and then came to a unanimous conclusion?
Sanjay Jha, the operational part of what the Congress spokesperson said was the generational change that was needed. Now, do you think that's going to be a calculated move only for this election, or it's par for the course right now for the Congress, where it's finally succumbed to that generational change pressure?
Well, Preeti, there is clearly trouble in paradise. I'm quite, unsurprised by the optimism of the Congress spokesperson. But the fact of the matter is that the spat became rather ugly. The manifestations of which were there in the interviews that Mr. Sidhu was giving in the run-up to his campaign against the captain. Now, I can tell you one thing for a fact, Preeti, that if the captain is today feeling mortified or humiliated, he's justified, because he's the one who's been the face of the Congress since the last 5 years. And I agree with Mr. Uppal that the Congress has done extraordinarily well. But in politics, you have to be extremely circumspect. And I do agree that today the opposition is in disarray. But the infighting within the Congress, Preeti, is galvanizing the opposition. I'm sure you'll have the AAP spokesperson feeling very thrilled. Despite the truce, apparent truce, everybody knows there is simmering discontent. Now, if I was Navjot Singh Sidhu, I mean, it's not just because of age and seniority. If I have attacked the captain, the least I can do, if the party high command has appointed me in this critical portfolio, is to say, I apologize if I said anything untoward, and I withdraw it with immediate effect. Why isn't Mr. Sidhu saying that? So I think these are yet very troubled times for the Congress. And I would request all Congress supporters not to take a victory in 2022 for granted. A week is a long time. There are months yet to go. We should be extremely careful.
You know, I'll go back to Mr. Sappal as I bring in our senior editor, Harmeet Singh, who's been looking at the developments in Punjab very, very closely. But Mr. Sappal, I'll come back to you. You said there's no rancor. Everything is all sorted out right now. Okay, you said there was no apology sought. But would you reckon the tweet which Mr. Sidhu tweeted out shortly after becoming the president of Punjab, where he pretty much clearly, at least if someone's to look at politically, took a dig at the sitting chief minister again, where he says that he doesn't believe his father left the royal patronage to move and serve the people. The sitting captain is royalty.
No, you see, if you see the history of Congress, there have been several instances in various states where there have been powerful leaders who have fought for their space. But once the order is settled, I think they all, it's up to them also to come together and fight unitedly. It's not to say that there has been no, in your words, rancor, but yes, there's a procedure which has been followed, there's a solution which has been found, and I think now Congress is geared up to fight it collectively. Because unlike the regional parties, the national parties, be it Congress or even be it BJP, are not one-man show at the end of the day. There are powerful leaders in various states, and their aspirations have to be adjusted, their space has to be ensured by the leadership, and there's a process for that. If you see other parties, they are one-man show, including the Aam Aadmi Party, whose spokesperson is here. There's no scope for any diverse views in the party. If you raise your voice, there's no attempt to accommodate those voices. Congress at least has a democratic setup, and that democratic setup sometimes in this 24/7 media.
Mr. Sappal, many questions could be asked. It's a little rich coming from the Congress party to say it's a democratic setup. And one only needs to go into your presidential elections to gauge